we're going to look at 6th grade social studies. The only one that is actually required out of your packet is to take 20 minutes, which is a long time. So you need to set a timer, but it's for you. You're going to write down your thoughts and feelings. Okay, make sure you put the date, whatever date it is. If you have to look it up on your phone, whatever the date is, you have to go to a calendar, figure out what the date is. Maybe if you're watching the news, it'll have the date on there. But that is required. That is your required work. That's the one that you have to turn in. Okay, so we're going to look at the other choices and try to kind of run through those so that you understand if you want to do one of those, you can. You're supposed to choose 2 other assignments. You should have 3 assignments for the week. So you have to do at least 2 of these that we're going to go over, but the number 1 is required. All right, so choice number 2 is cause and effect. This is, you're going to use your phone. You're going to use your phone to look up these. We've actually had a lot of earthquakes in the United States over the last couple weeks, so you might be able to find information about how that's affecting people. And or you can research even bigger ones that have happened over history. There's been, Chile has had the biggest one in history. You might want to look and see what happened there. Probably a lot of fatalities and things like that, disruption of emergency services. I know, was it just recently there was one in the Caribbean that affected a lot of people. So you might want to look that up. Monsoons are usually over in like India and stuff like that. So you want to look those up and see when the last one happened and how many people were affected and things like that. Tsunami. Many years ago, there was a really bad tsunami over in the Philippines area, and it was really bad. So you might want to look that one up. Avalanche, we get those here in the United States, so you might be able to find something about an avalanche in the northwestern part of the United States. And erosion is something kind of ongoing around here, especially when there's flooding and stuff like that. So these should be easy for you to find. So you're gonna find what happens to the earth when these things happen, okay? And then how does that affect people? All right, so we're gonna go to choice 3, the story of tsunamis. I'm gonna read it to you. Of course, this is informational, and then there's a quiz to go with it. So we already know that it's informational, a tsunami, what I know of a tsunami. If I were to write on here like I'm doing an ELA passage, I would put big tidal wave, okay? So I'm going to do that. And I know that it's informational. All right, so this is from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, adapted by Newsella staff on 02/24/17. A tsunami is a set of very large ocean waves. It is usually caused by an underwater earthquake. Earthquakes cause giant waves when they happen underwater. Tsunami waves could be 100 feet tall. They can wipe out a town in minutes. Since 1850, more than 420,000 people have been killed by tsunamis. Tsunamis usually hit places near the scene of the earthquake. They can also travel across the ocean if they are big enough. They can wipe out towns far away from the earthquake too. Scientists cannot tell when and where the next tsunami will strike. But once one starts, they can track where it is going. That gives people time to move away from the shore. Underwater earthquakes are one cause of tsunamis. Tsunamis mostly happen in the Pacific Ocean. One big hit in Indonesia on December 26, 2004. After an earthquake, the movement of the seafloor caused a giant tsunami. The waves were more than 100 feet high. More than 130,000 people were killed. The tsunami then began to spread across the ocean. Within 2 hours, it had killed 58,000 people in Thailand, Sri Lanka, and India. Scientists can track tsunamis. Scientists keep track of underwater earthquakes. If a big one happens, they know a tsunami is possible. They then announced a tsunami warning. I think not too long ago, maybe a year or two ago, they had a tsunami warning in Hawaii, and a lot of people were worried. Once a tsunami forms, scientists can track it. They can see where it's going. They can also see how strong it is. It is very hard to say how strong a tsunami will be in a particular place, though. The shape of the coastline can make a big difference. So can the depth and shape of the nearby ocean floor. Teaching people about tsunamis can save lives. Several things can help save lives when a tsunami hits. First, people along the Pacific coast should be taught about tsunamis. Second, a good warning system is needed. It lets people know a tsunami is coming. Third, a good evacuation plan is very important. It helps people away from the coast as quickly. It helps get people away from the coast as quickly as possible. The stories of 2 different towns hit by tsunamis help us understand these points. In 1993, a town of Ayane, Japan was hit. People there had been taught about tsunamis. A warning was given. The town had a good evacuation plan. In 1998, a tsunami hit Warrapa, Papua New Guinea. People there were not taught about tsunamis. There were no warning systems. There was no evacuation plan. Many more people died in Warrapa than Ayane. Planning ahead made all the difference. Okay, so the story's been read. Now we're going to read the questions and answer choices if that's applicable. It's a quiz. Which section of the article compares how 2 different places prepared for a tsunami? Okay, so they talked about 2 different cities and countries and okay, so is it in the introduction paragraph 1 through 4? B, underwater earthquakes are one cause of tsunamis. C, scientists can track tsunamis. Or D, teaching people about tsunamis can save lives. Okay. Number 2, what is the purpose of the select section, underwater earthquakes are one cause of tsunamis? A, to explain the serious effects of a very big tsunami. B, to explain how people could have prepared for a tsunami. C, to describe the reaction of people in Thailand to a tsunami. D, to describe how scientists learn to predict tsunamis. So definitely you want to go back to the underwater earthquakes are one cause of tsunamis and see what that was mostly about. Okay. 3, what is the purpose of paragraph 1? So you want to go back to your paragraph 1, and if you hashtagged it, which you should have, then I would use your hashtag, whatever you hashtagged. What is the topic of the article? That's your overall, what is it about? What have we been talking about? What word has been repeated over and over again? 5, list 5 details that explain or the topic. So if you did hashtags, which you should, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hashtags. So you could write down just 5 of them on your blanks. And then compare and contrast hurricanes and tsunamis. How are they similar and how are they different? Okay, so I can help you with some of it. I'm going to help you label it. We're going to do hurricane. And then tsunami. And then in the middle is both, of course. Okay, so they both happen over the ocean. Over the ocean. Okay. Well, the hurricane is different because it's a weather phenomena, right? Whereas the tsunami has to do with an earthquake. So see, I matched them up. The hurricane has to do with weather, where the tsunami has to do with an earthquake. So I got you started. So try to find some other things. Look it up online. Look it up on your phone. Look at, type in, compare and contrast hurricanes and tsunamis. Type that in your browser. It'll probably give you a whole bunch of them. All right, so we're going to go on to choice 4, which is the character map of Gandhi. You are to watch the biography on Gandhi, which is given to you in your, just watch a video of a biography of Gandhi so you can look that up on your phone. On your blank, you're going to get a blank piece of paper. And then you can sketch a picture of Gandhi, color it, title it Gandhi, and then talk about character traits that he had and accomplishments. Okay? So if this were my paper and I had sketched this, I would put the character traits, I would just write them all around the picture. Okay? All right. And then answer on the back of your paper, answer the following questions. Why is Gandhi important to India? 2, what word did you use your character map that you most about Gandhi and why? 3, why was Gandhi placed in prison? Or 4, who does Gandhi remind you of in your life, past units or historical people? All right, so we're going to go into the Aryans and the caste system here. I'm going to read this to you, and then we'll do the answer. I'll read the answer choices, or the answers, or the questions and answers, okay? All right. The Aryans and the caste system, again, this is going to be informational. I think it's going to be about India, because I know India has a caste system. If I were me, I'm going to do hashtags on each answer, or each paragraph. So you might want to split those all up so that you can do that. I am not going to do them with you. I'm going to leave those for you to do, because those are what are going to help you answer all your questions. However, I did show you, how to split them up, each paragraph. Okay? About 1500 BC, powerful nomadic warriors known as Aryans began to appear in northern India. Their skill on horseback allowed the Aryans to conquer and the native people and to expand south into the subcontinent. The Aryans spoke Sanskrit, a language that is similar to what is spoken in Europe, but unlike the Dravidian languages spoken in India before the Aryan invasion. The similarities with European language suggest the Aryans might have migrated to India from Central Asia, but we cannot be sure because the writings of the Aryans do not suggest they came from somewhere else. The Aryans wrote songs and stories about their gods. The stories were called the Vedas. The Vedas were handed down by word of mouth for hundreds of years until about 500 BC when the Aryans learned to write. The Rig Veda is a collection of more than 1,000 songs that survives to this day. The influence of these stories is why the period of Indian history lasting from about 1500 BC to 322 BC is known as the Vedic Age. About 1000 BC, the Aryans discovered iron ore in the Ganges River Valley. The Aryans used the iron to build strong plows to grow crops. They also used iron weapons to control the Dravidian people and impose a rigid social structure called the caste system. Caste members lived, ate, married, and worked with their own group. A person born into one caste rarely changed caste or mixed with members of other castes. At the top of the caste system were the Brahmin and the Kshatriyas. Okay? The Brahmin were the priests, teachers, and judges who understood Dharma. Dharma were the spiritual laws that the people of ancient India believed governed the universe. The Brahmin often lived apart from the rest of the society in temples. The Kshatriya were the warrior caste who made everyday decisions and ran the government. The Kshatriya, had most of the power in everyday life, but their decisions could be overruled by the Brahmin. The Vaishya were skilled farmers and merchants. They occasionally had leadership positions in local villages. The unskilled workers were of the Sudras caste. Most of the Sudras caste often worked on the farms of the people in higher castes. Foreigners, lawbreakers, people from isolated tribes, and people suffering from contagious diseases were called untouchables or outcasts. Members of this caste were traditionally regarded as unsuitable for personal relations with people in the caste system. These untouchables had jobs or habits that involved polluting activities, such as having a job that involved ending a life. Caste members were vegetarians, so people who ate meat or fish were not accepted into their society. Untouchables were hired to do work that members of the caste system would not do. These jobs included killing or disposing of dead cattle or working with their hides. The untouchables also worked as sweepers, washers, or in other jobs that required contact with human emissions such as sweat, urine, or feces. Ew. Untouchables were often forbidden to enter temples, schools, and wells where caste members drew water. In some parts of India, even the sight of an untouchables was thought to be polluting. The untouchables were often forced to sleep during the day and work at night. The caste system became less rigid as the Indian people were exposed to outside ideas. Many untouchables left their rigid social structure by converting to Islam, Buddhism, or Christianity. Gandhi referred to the untouchables as the Harijan, a term that means blessed because Gandhi believed the Harijan were blessed by their suffering. In modern usage, Gandhi's term has been rejected as demeaning. The Harijan prefer to call themselves the Dalit, a term that can be translated as oppressed. The Indian government has provided the Dalit with specific employment privileges and granted them special representation in the Indian Parliament. Despite such measures, the Dalit continue to have fewer educational and employment opportunities than Indians whose families belong to the caste system. The British controlled part or all of the Indian subcontinent from 1612 to 1947. The British thought that caste members believed they would have to live out their lives in a particular caste in order to be reborn into a higher caste. We now know that some Indian people did have an opportunity to join higher castes, but this didn't happen very often. Discrimination against the Dalit has been forbidden by the Indian Constitution since 1950, but many of India's 160 million Dalit continue to live in poverty. Indian people with family names associated with the Dalit often face prejudice, though the Indian people elected a Dalit to the presidency. K.R. Narayan served in position from 1997 to 2002. All right, we're going to fill in the blanks. The Aryans were blank horsemen, first appeared in blank India about 1,000 years before the blank. The stories and songs of the blank gods were collected a volume called the blank. The Rig Veda is written in blank, the Syrian of the language of the Aryans. Sanskrit is related to blank languages, but blank have not yet found a connection between the blank and other cultures. The Aryans used their knowledge of blank weapons to impose a blank social structure called the blank system. Caste members generally blank, ate, and blank within their own groups. The Brahmin were the blank and blank at the blank of the caste system. The Brahmin lived apart from the rest of the Indian societies where they studied. Dharma were the blank laws the ancient Indians believed. Blank the blank. The everyday activities of the Indian society were controlled by the Kshatriya blank. Skilled laborers composed the blank caste, while the blank laborers belonged to the Sudras caste. The blank were the people not allowed into the caste system. The untouchables were forced to work in dirty and unsafe environments and do jobs that members of the caste were unwilling to do. Gandhi called the untouchables blank, but the preferred term today is Dalit, a term that means blank. The caste system has been illegal in India for more than blank years, but many of India's 160 million Dalit continue to live in blank. Answer incomplete sentences, so that means you rephrase the question. I'll help you with that. What is the caste system? So I'm going to start out with the caste system is, and then you have to finish it. Remember, you can pause if you need to so that you can get it copied, but it's right there. Number 2, why is 1500 BC to 322 BC known as the Vedic Age of Indian history? So I'm just going to copy everything except for the why is. 1500 BC to 322 BC is known as the Vedic Age because... Okay? I didn't do anything fancy. I just restated the question. 3, why do you think the Brahmin were more important in Indian society than Kshatriya? Okay, so instead of the why do you think, we're going to put the Brahmin were more important than Kshatriya because, and if you need to do this on another sheet of paper because you don't have a lot of room, then do that. I didn't do anything special. I just took out a couple words and rephrased it so that I can write it in a complete sentence. Number 4, why were some people not allowed to join the caste system? You're just going to put some people were not allowed to join the caste system. Hey, dog's getting in the trash. Because, okay. Sorry. All right, number 5, what statement in the text suggests that Dalit face less discrimination today in the past? So I'm going to put Dalit face less discrimination today because, again, I just rephrased the question. All right, and that takes us to the end of Social Studies Week 2.